can't give you that information because it's crypto and people in crypto like to be anonymous. Well, if you can't tell people who is viewing your press release, if you can't even give basic quantity numbers that can be verified, audited, and checked, then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You are nothing more than a filthy snake oil sale. If you're in crypto, it's very likely that you're not having a great time right now. You're watching other asset classes reach all-time highs, and you're probably sitting on a bunch of old coins that are in wrecked city, to put it nicely. This was going to happen. This has been an industry that has been ruled by amateurs for far too long, and the only way we will ever have a chance to grow is if we become a professional industry right now. So what we're going to start doing in this video series is we're going to look at a whole bunch of myths that have become believed throughout the Web3 space and identify these problems so that as we move forwards and hopefully there's a future to this industry, we stop making these mistakes. And today we're going to look at the press release scam. So we wrote an article recently on the press release scam, and we were quite generous in our metrics. So we were on the favor of press releases, giving them a 0.5% chance of being successful. Now that's based on our data. If you look at big SEO tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush, you might have seen that they have worse numbers, but our number was the most positive. We decided to base the case around that. And yes, that is a 0.5% chance that having a press release is successful. So what we're going to look at today is we're going to talk about this article, and then we're going to go out and we're going to look at one of these press release companies that sell the things and see if they really do live up to the scam mentality that we make the case for within this article. So let's dive into it and have a bit of a chat. So press releases promise to give you reach. They promise to bring you to millions of eyeballs because they're going to put you on these very prominent websites. But they're never going to prove that anyone actually saw the articles. And the truth is they don't. They're going to sit in a subdirectory on these sites under press release or sponsored content, and there's not going to provide you with any numbers as to anyone reading them, looking at them, or anything at all. About the only thing that's going to happen is companies are going to see that you were silly enough to buy one of these press releases and try to reach out to you and sell them their own press releases or perhaps some other poorly built marketing product that they think that you are going to be interested in. Now, if you're watching this video and you're an investor and you're not somebody who works in Web3 marketing or a founder, what does that mean to you? Well, it means that if you see a company that you're investing in spending money on press releases, that it might give you cause to question the professionalism of the team. Now, as I did say, there is a 0.5% chance that these are successful, and I'll quickly talk about the ones that we did find that were successful and how we defined it. And you'll notice something most particularly that this is not going to be a normality for most projects. So the project that we did notice did do a press release and it did get traction was one that was working with NVIDIA. And it was that interest in the NVIDIA article that actually got up and running. They timed it perfectly when there was a big movement in the NVIDIA stock price, and so there was extra people out there searching for it. And so that press release did get traction due to the timing. And that traction, of course, fizzled out in about a week at most, but it did give a success story that our system and our software was able to detect for a particular project. So that is the thing. Now, if you are putting out a press release or your project's putting out a press release that says we raised money or we did strategic partnership or something that no one will care about, it is a waste. And the worst bit about it is they probably paid a lot of money for that. Now, that's not their money. That's their investors' money. That could be a VC's money. That could be your money if you bought the token and you and they sold it to you so that they could fund it. That is your money that they are wasting. So we'll go through it. Now, the scams that they might tell you is that it is good for SEO. It is not good for SEO whatsoever. First of all, fundamentally, for it to have been good for SEO, people need to be searching for what the topic is about. Now, did XYZ company raise $3 million in seed is not something that people are actively searching for. That is about the only thing that it will rank for. It's not going to rank for the broad brand name. It's not going to rank for projects that raise money this week. No, it is not going to rank for absolutely anything. So fundamentally, there is no SEO value. Secondly, they might say, but it is a backlink. backlinks are important to SEO. Backlinks do help search engines and LLMs to understand what site might be good on a particular topic, but the topic that these things are talking about is fundamentally pointless. And I could talk about how they mostly have no follow links, or the low quality sites that they're on probably don't have a high amount of crawl budget to reach them anyway. That is true, but it is redundant because fundamentally the topic has failed the test anyway. So there is no SEO value to these articles whatsoever. If there is anything to them with SEO, they might actually, in fact, hurt your site. And the reason why they're going to hurt your site is generally these press releases are distributed over multiple websites and they're all identical or very similar, and that looks like spammy, unnatural content, right? Why is someone writing exactly the same article? Why is the author the same? Why is there the same image? Why is there exactly the same quote? That doesn't add to your brand. It makes you look lazy and poor. So we can't say definitively that there is a negative implication to it, but there certainly isn't any evidence that it is to the positive, and thus it is most likely to be negative. Now, running on to the next thing, remember when Web3 started, we were going to be about accountability. We were going to be about credibility. We were going to be about making sure that everyone knew what was going on. Well, that's not the case when it comes to Web3 press releases. The companies that sell these will say, you're going to reach 1 million people if you put your release out on Cointelegraph. Now, I don't believe any press release on Cointelegraph has ever had 100,000 views, 10,000 views, 1,000 views, 500 views, 100 views. Hell, I'm not sure they have had 10 views, right? Because 10 views would be less than 10 views would be the number of other competitor companies that are trying to look at these press releases to identify who they can sell them to and who they can scam. And there is no one else who is clicking and checking on that. In a moment, I would encourage you to go look at Chainwire's LinkedIn. They put out every single press release they do as a post, and scrolling through about 100 of them this morning, I think 2 of them had 1 like on it. Nobody sees these things no matter where they are. So there is no financial value to this. No one's going to see it. There is no SEO value to it. No one's going to see it. Why would someone do this? Well, that comes down to ego and poor experience of the founder or the marketing team. Now, professional marketers and professional founders know that they need to return an ROI for the hard-earned cash that they are trusted with. Now, for them, they just see ego though, and they see getting a logo on their website of saying we were seen on Cointelegraph, Yahoo Finance, you name it, as important. Now, it's not. Everybody has it on their websites, making it thus pointless. But second of all, if you really just want to put the logos on your website, just put them on your website. No one's going to notice. No one's going to stop you. No one's going to say anything. There is nothing contractually about it. And hell, if someone ever does come and say, hey, I didn't see you on Yahoo Finance, and there's somebody that you need to talk to because they're a potential customer, guess what? Then you have a reason to do the press release because you want to get Jeremy to invest money, or you want to get Jeremy's company to start using your product XYZ. So look, it is fundamentally theater and it is pointless. But I digressed, didn't I? I spoke about accountability and I spoke about why we would do things and the earlier promise of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Well, let's touch on that, because the Chainwires and the companies out there that sell this scam, they tell you, oh, we can't give you that information because it's crypto and people in crypto like to be anonymous. Well, if you can't tell people who is viewing your press release, if you can't even give basic quantity numbers that can be verified, audited, and checked, then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You are nothing more than a filthy snake oil salesman.